Welcome to Leadership, the Secret Sauce with coaches Dave Lipsky and Matt Dodson, where we are talking about leadership and coaching. Join us as we sit down with remarkable leaders and coaches, uncovering their unique insights and strategies that make them truly exceptional. We'll explore the question, what is your secret sauce and when and how did you know? Unveiling the hidden ingredients behind their success. Are you ready? Well, let's get started. Today is a very special episode. Let me introduce Fractional Insights. We have a couple of guests from Fractional Insights, where they are a research and advisory firm that helps companies use evidence and insights to articulate the market's pain, their product promise, and the proof that it delivers. Backed by a network of experts, their fractional lab model provides companies with access to expert-level go-to-market and product support, offering rigorous but commercially oriented insights. Today is very special. We do have a couple of friends with us that I've known since working with BetterUp starting about 4 years ago. And so today's episodes, we're going to actually talk with Aaron and Shauna, and we'll let them introduce themselves. But Dave, what are your sort of initial thoughts here?
I am really excited to reconnect with Shona and learn more from Aaron and learn about what Fractional Insights is. And we created this podcast to mostly hang out with coaches because we feel like that's our people. And when we get a chance to explore what has helped people develop other people, unlock potential, it infuses both Matt and I with energy and helps us do our work. So I'm going to start off with just a question around energy. Usually what I start off with either coaching or teaching. And what is your energy level on a scale from 1 to 10? 1 being low, 10 being high. So we'll start off with Shona. Where are you at?
I'm gonna give it a 9, honestly. But it's you all, because it was probably at about a 1.5 this morning when I got up. But then, seeing the three of you today definitely amped it up. I'm feeling great.
Being with people, thank you. And Aaron, how about you on a scale of 1 to 10? Where you are at?
Yeah, I mean, she stole what I was gonna say. It was low before, but then like having the connection and just the chat that we had as we were getting ready to turn this podcast on just filled me up. So
I
now I'm at a
like it.
10.
I like it. We can start every morning like this. We'll just sign on, consistent chat. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I went to Starbucks before because I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to be ready to go this morning, I better have a little extra cup of coffee. So I'm probably an 8.5, maybe 9. Yeah.
I am. I'm going like 9.5 because I always have this tinge of anxiety that my technology won't work and I have to get everything in line. And then that anxiety, like when I take a deep breath and I see faces of people that I want to talk to, it kind of like, okay, it is what it is. And now I feel good and I'm ready to connect.
Yeah. One of the things we do want to start out with, maybe Shauna and Aaron, you can kind of tell us a little bit of, this is our first time doing sort of a panel of a company. So, but we really are curious about sort of your individual secret sauces, but maybe you can give us a little bit of background, like why Fractional Insights?
Yeah, I can start on that, and then we can. So, when you say why Fractional Insights, that might be intentionally broad, but are you thinking the name or the mission?
Oh, well, so like you guys were with a company together in the past, and then you decided just to go bold, like, okay. And for those of you who are listening, would recommend that you follow them on LinkedIn, because I think you provide a lot of background on it. But maybe tell us like a little bit of like, what happened for you to say, what, I think we should do this on our own. Let's. What does that look like? Is that too broad?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think that we probably have independent stories of that at some point came together. So I can speak to my own story. I mean, arguably, I've gotten progressively bold over my career. I think if you're familiar with BetterUp now, it doesn't seem like a bold move to go there. I think it feels pretty safe, well established, like a very appealing place. But at the time that I made that move, I was the vice president of research at SHRM, and I heard an episode where you talked to an old friend of mine, Robert Garcia. But so I was at SHRM. I was in, incredibly well-known organization, had a lot of platform and all of that. And when I told my network that I was going from there to the startup that at that point nobody had ever heard of called BetterUp, to do this thing called scaling coaching that, people are like, what's coaching and what does it mean to scale it? Most people thought I either, got fired or was having a premature midlife crisis or whatever had happened. And I still think it's one of the best career decisions I ever made, because it really put me in strong alignment with so many core values and everything. And this was kind of a progression of that, right? I had done so many amazing things. The community of people I was introduced to was just life-changing, incredible. And I felt this call to this moment in time that we're in, where, AI being infused in the workforce is just creating disequilibrium, where we have this chance to like question everything, all of these foundational premises about how and where we do work and what it looks like. And I wanted to be in the middle of that and influencing it towards, what is that future of work going to look like? For me, it needs to be more human centric. And what is the way that I, as like one person, can do that at the broadest scale? And so I was making that decision to leave independently. Aaron and I have been friends for a long time, and we actually did a joint separate strategy session. So really both of us knew, we were kind of ready to move on to the next thing. Didn't know what it was going to be yet. Didn't know what it was going to look like. We're both considering doing something in entrepreneurship. And as we started talking about just like visioning for the change we wanted to see in the world, we're like, we want the same things. We want the same things. We had this long history of collaboration and feeling a lot of energy from when we worked together. And it was really over the course of a few months that we mutually proposed. Is that what we did?
Yeah,
Aaron?
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we made the decision to go towards a shared purpose and do that together, I think, before Fractional Insights itself and what it was going to look like were born.
Anything you want to add, Aaron?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think she really covered a lot of the same sort of story for what happened with me too. But I guess what's a little different is that I came from academia before BetterUp, so I was in academia working on the intersection of work and life, and really trying to understand how these two very different domains are either complementary or can be barriers to thriving for people, and doing that research. And one of the reasons I left academia and ended up at BetterUp in the first place was because I really wanted to find a closer channel for impact between the science and the application of that science. And there's all kinds of reasons, which could be a whole other conversation about why it's difficult for the scientific work that comes out of academic sources to get really the play that it deserves and the implementation that it deserves. And so that's one of the reasons I left BetterUp. And I also was seeing, as Shauna was saying, these major shifts. And part of it was from the pandemic, and part of it is through the advancements in technology, and part of it, we think, also is sort of a undercurrent of awakening in the workforce. And there's just these major opportunities for intervention and for shaping and crafting what the future of work looks like. And, I think also for me personally, I have two small children, and I just want to look back on my career and say that I really made a difference in making their experience of work and life better. And I had an itch for entrepreneurship. And so, what better time than sort of now? What better time, than now? So yeah, that's also how I came to this myself.
I just want to observe that, when you think about leading a company that's comfortable and going out on your own, that it's scary. And there are a lot of people that don't do it. So I just applaud you, just because it does take courage. Because that first, whatever it is, a week, every month, or however you're paid at whatever the big company that you're working on, the moment that you don't get that pay, like when I was with Chevron, the 15th and the 22nd, or the 7th and the 22nd, the moment you don't get that paycheck on the 7th and the 22nd, things get real. Not just imaginary, it gets real. So
it's true. And the financial aspect, the benefits, all of that, and even just, some parameters on what success looks like. I think there's a lot of comforts you do get from the corporate world. And for myself, I've had to do some reframing around like what courage looks like in work for me. And once I had the clarity of who I was, what I wanted to do in the world, the conditions under which I wanted to do that, it felt like it actually would have been a bigger risk to not do it.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing where I think like every day, like this is so hard. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And it feels vulnerable and raw. And like anything I thought I had worked through coaching or therapy or anything else, it's like, oh no, it's still there and it's time to do more. It's exhausting in some ways. And I can't imagine doing anything else right now. So.
Wow. Dave, here I am. I feel like I've jumped in on our first question, but I find actually the background really helpful. I hope our listeners can hear that, and maybe some of you are going, "Wow, that's fascinating. Can't wait to learn more." So,
I want to bridge it to the first question, because it's like we're purposeful, like when we have purpose, and then we get to places where maybe we can live in that purpose differently or accomplish our purpose differently. And sometimes, I know it's for me, like in organizations, we make a lot of compromises. And where we focus our energy to live our purpose is part of, I think, why I love coaching, why a lot of people get into the field of coaching and development. So to bridge that to like the first question is, what are your secret sauces, and how did you discover them? And I'm not even going to say who goes first. I'm just going to wait and see what appears.
I'm going to make Aaron go first because I've talked too much per usual. So I'm going to Aaron.
No problem. Yeah. Well, first of all, we were reflecting on this question and found it to be super helpful, honestly, in really clarifying how we are thinking about our unique value that we're hoping to offer to others or to bring to the world. And so also just want to acknowledge and thank you for a very thoughtful question, which makes sense coming from the two of you. But for me, where I landed was my secret sauce, I think, is a dogged pursuit of progress. And so that dogged pursuit of progress is really what I think has driven me to be interested in science, in academia, in research. I want to discover new knowledge. I want to bring answers to questions that are important. I want to use those answers to make a difference in the world, especially in the world of work. And so it's really like a reflection of always wanting to improve things, seeing a way to do that through science and very intentional science translation to get it into the hands of decision makers, of work tech companies, of innovators, of other people with that values alignment who really want to make a difference, but need specific answers to be able to do that. And so uh, that's kind of where I think my secret sauce is. It's this passion for new insights, but also focused on using science as a mechanism to help make new information accessible and useful for a better world.
I love that dogged pursuit of progress, and I need that in a pill form if you can share that.
If you spend time with her, David, it will rub off.
It's good. It's good. I mean, are there like young adult sizes of those pills? I'm thinking for me, but I also maybe one of my 4 kids, maybe 2. No, I'm not going to go there. I'll transition,
Yeah.
Matt. Shona, how about you?
Shauna.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's always, see, this is why I always go first, because it's hard to follow Erin. But yeah, I too really enjoyed reflecting on this question. And I think what I'll share is that I kind of like to say that I see the world through 3D glasses. And what I mean by that is I have this science lens, and then I have a business lens. And I feel like when I'm looking through both, I see solutions in 3D, because I was trained as a scientist practitioner. I've always been an applied researcher in some way or shape or form. So even like the little moments in my own life, I'm sort of seeing them through this lens of science at the same time too. So I sort of bring that to everything in the many hats and domains that I wear. So it's this combination of, rigorous scientific grounding, but also a lot of time in business and business savvy and understanding that world, kind of wrapped in this like genuine care for human development. I like Erin. I think what our shared value here is just this like loving potential, seeing the potential in things and people, and trying to figure out how to use science and everything like that to unlock it. And I think for a lot of people, it's kind of it's hard to see like how all the myriad things I do fit together, and why one person's interested in all of this stuff. But I'm really a systems thinker, and I've really asked myself like what is the red thread in all of this? And I think it's curiosity and asking good questions, because whether you're doing research or consulting or coaching or teaching, like curiosity is kind of a superpower, and you have to ask good questions for all those things. And I know in listening to some of the other episodes, like curiosity seems to come up a lot. So I'm probably in good company on that.
You know what? Just in hearing both of you kind of describe that secret sauce, like that is actually like the insight is really sometimes what opens the door for a company. They really want that. Like, what are we not seeing? Like separate from the coaching side. I want to know, like, can you share with me something that our company is not noticing just by like merely the grind of the business? And that grind actually, I think, causes a certain amount of personal blindness or organizational blindness where we're not seeing anything, and having an insight in whatever's going on in the company actually kind of allows them to get perspective. That's what I find fascinating about what you're describing, because I remember it specifically. I thought giving a company an organizational insight like opens the door for more coaching. Like it just is the pathway to get there, because they don't have it, right? And they're going, hey, what's going on in my company? A little bit very similar to like, some type of organizational assessment. Anyway, I get excited about it. So anyway,
yeah.
So maybe go ahead.
And I was just going to say on that, Matt, and it's fascinating, right? Because Erin and I, like in my case, I've spent 25 years doing all of this stuff for other companies, right? Using data, getting insights, trying to step back, ask good questions, whether it's at an organizational level or an individual level. And I have even more empathy now for how hard that is to do for yourself.
Yeah.
It's just so much harder. And so I think this outside perspective of whether it's the data gatherer or the person who's just, I mean, it just sounds different coming from the outside. So I think that's a new level of appreciation about why those insights, like tell me what I can't see, are so important.
Mm. So when did you guys know that that was your secret sauce? Like when did it dawn on you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it goes back to what Shauna was saying a little bit earlier about our story. I think really though there was an unfolding across time, through our tenure at BetterUp, where we were orbiting each other in different capacities for many years, and either I was reporting to Shauna, we were working as peers in different functions, we were working as peers inside the same function or team, or supporting or in service and dependency on each other. And so we had a lot of different experiences and sort of dynamics being around each other and working together, and developed a really wonderful friendship also through all of that time. But I think really when we had time together in doing like sort of the self-reflection and sort of peer coaching for each other of like, what do you see in me? What do I feel about, my unique strengths or the constellation of experiences and skills that I've built to this point in my life, and what I really want to achieve in the next 10, 20 years of my career? How do you see it? How do I see it? And when we were having those conversations, really in service of each other, it was like, oh, we really there's something here, because we have a lot of overlap in our like Venn diagrams of skills and experiences, but we also have uniquenesses where Shauna has this deep background in leadership, in measurement, in psychometrics, having worked in so many different capacities across industries. I have much less of that because I was in academia and really focused on the science, really focused on the research. And so there's very complementary synergy, I guess, between, her background experience, my background experience, but then where we have this shared passion and vision and energy for a future. And so it was really then, I think, where we were noticing that, and also reflecting on like when in our past working experiences did we feel ease over effort. And a lot of that came from when we were working closely together. So that was also a good signal of like, okay, yeah, when we have done projects together, it's been so energizing, fun, it's additive. And like, I like to talk about too, saying like, actually just last night, I went to an improv comedy show, and in improv, they have a principle, and I could be making this up, but I'm pretty sure this is right, that the principle is like a yes and kind of dynamic or it's maybe certain exercises in improv where they do that. But it's sort of like you take one offer in the storyline and then you yes and it and bring additional flavor or the next sort of move in the development of the scene. And so that's kind of how I feel we are when we're together and working on a problem or working with a client. It's like, yes, and this, oh, and yes. And then, and it just, we have that kind of energetic, complementary, like upward spiral. And that feels so good when you're working with someone where that is the experience of work. It's just, it does feel in some ways like magical. And you just want more of that. And I think we both also like saw that in each other.
I am interested in when you combine the systems 3D glasses and the dogged pursuit of progress, what are you guys most excited about? Like the work you're doing, how you're helping organizations. How would I experience that?
Well,
Oh gosh. Yeah, go ahead, Erin.
I'll start, but I will keep it short, Shauna, so you can get in here. But like one thing that I'm really excited about is that like there is so much information, science, insights, data that exists. Like I know it because I was in academia and I have seen reams and reams of data and insights that are just available but haven't had the right voice, haven't had the right channel, haven't had the right championship to get into the hands of decision makers and innovators. And not only that, there's so much power in research and insight and in data to help accelerate companies that are trying to change the world for the better. And we've seen that work so well firsthand, being at BetterUp and leading the charge in various ways over the time that we were there, but leading the charge in using science and using research as an accelerant and like a rocket fuel to the go-to-market strategy, into the product, into our thought leadership, establishing authority, helping to be very persuasive and compelling in what we're trying to do, why it's going to work, how we know it has worked. And that is like, it's really gold in marketing and sales. And so while I think like we can help with product, product development strategy, marketing, and sales. Really, it's about the ultimate mission, which is to make work better and make it a better place. But using that science and research and data that both exists and just needs to be converted and translated, or to do the new research that's necessary to get that expression or articulation really nailed for the companies who have these very noble missions. It's just so exciting. And like, I know we can do it and we've helped BetterUp do it. And so it's just like, that's what really gets me jazzed is like, there is so much opportunity to just make progress and do the work that these companies really want to do for the world. And being able to fractionally support many different agendas and missions feels like really exciting. So that was longer than I thought, but sorry, Shauna.
Worth it, Erin.
You know what? One of the things that made me think of, like, it's almost be like if I was a company, I'd come to you and I'd say, "Hey, what am I missing?" And that's what you would answer that question. What am I missing? Mm-hmm. Right. In order to really kind of get me to that next place. Right.
Yeah.
Is that a fair question?
That is totally fair. I think that's totally fair. And like, there's a lot of companies that some of them know what they're missing and they're looking for it, but a lot of companies don't know what they're missing. And so that's also that's part of both the, like, it's excitement, but also challenge in how we as Fractional Insights are going to find our own, success as a business is like help when companies have a blind spot. You first have to convince them that there is a blind spot and then, be able to illuminate how to fill the blind spot. But yeah, I think for some companies, they don't know what they don't know. And for some companies, they know they don't know something. And we hopefully can be of service there.
It reminds me of the coaching question. What else? That is actually like what you're answering. What else? If I was the coachee, yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's this other part of it for me that is, I've felt it as a coach, I've felt it as a consultant, and I've felt it as a category builder. And if that's not a familiar term for any of our listeners, BetterUp was trying to build a whole category around coaching at scale, and ultimately, human transformation platform is where they are now. But it's this idea of like, how do you take an idea that people don't even know that they need it and then turn that into something that now everybody needs? So it's this really exciting and challenging idea of like, where's the glimmer that there's a readiness for change? And we see this in one-on-one coaching work all the time. And you're like, where's that zone of proximal development? Where is there like the awareness that then turns into the motivation to do the hard work, to do something different? And, this is part of what brought Aaron and I into entrepreneurship, but I feel it every day where it's like, I've been in this work of psychology and humanity in the workplace for 25 years. And never more strongly have I felt this sense of like, oh, people get it. Like they understand that these are human beings at work with needs and aspirations. And the way we've built our systems isn't aligned. And that's not working for anybody anymore. And so these technologies and these tools are a bunch of, empathetic problem solvers getting together and trying to figure out like, how do we use technology to complement humanity to make this work better for everybody? And I'm hearing more discussions of organizational psychology and more discussions of human centricity on a daily basis. And I'm meeting these entrepreneurs who get as excited about nerding out on things like performance management as I do. And it just feels like the time is now to bring all of these things together and actually make a meaningful difference in what's happening. So I think it's everything Aaron said, plus the combination of like, it feels like it's happening, right? Like I keep finding community, just like, meeting each of you in like coaching communities and being like, these are my people. Like I'm realizing I have more people than I ever have. So I think that's, it's bringing a lot of energy to my day-to-day work.
Dave, we had other questions, but I think some of the questions you've really answered. Maybe one thing that sort of sticks in my mind is, okay, so if a company like gets it, like you describe, what is it that they like? What is it that they want from you? Like, and how does that like dovetail with coaching? Is it like, hey, look, I need insight, and I need sort of this bridge in like to my workforce? Is it through coaching that I get that sort of bridge to like the human side of coaching? Or how would I see that?
I think often what the companies that we work with want from us is to help them explain to the market and explain to others, the business case, the like how this thing, like for example, again, most of the companies we work with are trying to make work better for people. And that could be, productivity, efficiency. And a lot of times it's employee experience. And while I think like most people kind of get that and like why that's a good thing, businesses have to make hard choices. And so it's like, okay, what's the business case for it? How is it going to impact my bottom line? How do I even know this squishy, messy human stuff? Is it all related to the metrics that I'm responsible for as a CEO or a leader? And we can help them do that because like we have so much experience in the messy stuff and trying to make the messy stuff a little bit more concrete and clearly laying out like what that value chain is between, making people's lives appreciably better and getting organizational outcomes for that. And so I think it's a lot about that. And so like, if we were to really simplify it, it's like, yeah, they want us to help them sell more of their product, but like strip that away. Why does that matter? Because they're passionate that their product is going to make a difference in the world. And they need to get it to more people in order to fulfill their mission. And so that's what they want us to help with. And I think we do that, using all of the tools that we talked about before.
Yeah, I just have the one question in my mind, which is, what is it time for now for Fractional Insights?
What is it time for now?
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, what a good question. I mean, I think it's time for expression, right? Like right now, we are in the stage of trying to get our mission as a company known and out there, to put ourselves into places where people can see us and find us and understand what we're doing. We have, we before we actually officially launched, which was only 4 weeks ago, but we spent months really doing a lot of the discovery work with clients who we were working with, but prospective clients, doing interviews, thinking deeply about where our unique skill sets could really be of use. And so one of the things that we realized was that, we have a very privileged past because both of us have PhDs, both of us are scientist practitioners, and not only that, we worked in as scientists, as behavioral scientists in IO psychology or organizational science, in technology, and at a unicorn startup that we, were early stage employees at, and then helped use that science and data to create hyper growth and unicorn status over the course of many, many years. And that's rare. Just objectively, it's just rare. And so after like a lot of deep thinking and discovery, we finally got to the place where we're like, okay, we think we know where we have a niche that can be really of use. And now that we have defined that and put our website together and launched our business, and we're starting to get traction, but really it's about things like this. It's like having these conversations where we can express ourselves and make our sort of company agenda more accessible and known, and try to find the right way of saying the thing that we want to do, the how we're going to help in a way that people can understand and that is resonant with our market. So I think it's really about like getting out there and expanding the audience for ourselves and our company. Is that what you'd say, Shauna?
Yeah, I think that's right. It's, um, connecting with the pain, with people who need this work, and then demonstrating it. And I think, a lot of that also comes down to building the community. And I think the one thing that I've taken away from a lot of your podcasts is like authentic expression attracts attracts other people, interests. And so we've got to get out there and make sure that people who are like-minded can find us.
I think this is a really fascinating conversation for maybe the conversation you may have like in a month, looking back on this conversation, like, hey, look, we really crystallized some things. And that was actually the intention of this podcast, was for coaches and for a company to say, look, this is what we think we're bringing. This is why we're here. And I just really, if you haven't read both of their posts on LinkedIn, I just encourage you to go and find Shauna and Aaron on LinkedIn. I think they're describing things that are really good. If you are somebody that's working in a corporation right now and you want to go out on your own, read them, because I think they'll actually they're describing what goes on, I think, in our heart as people and as coaches. And when we leave sort of the comfort of a corporate job, and like we think there's something out there that is different or differently satisfying, I would say. That's it's good stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, speaking of good stuff, I have an offer that you can take or leave. But Aaron and I joke a lot about, one day starting a geek swag line as part of the Fractional Insights umbrella. And I see this in your future too, but what I want is it could be a t-shirt, maybe stickers after you're a guest of Secret Sauce, that you get your face with your secret sauce on a hot sauce bottle. Right? Like
Maybe. Yeah.
I think I think this is a future campaign or swag
Yes.
line
And
or
yeah.
something like that for you all.
We did have some previous guests share their
Yes.
favorite
Yeah.
sauces. We got, chipotle, we got a little bit of, hot sauce. It really is a variety. What just like I'm going to share my reflection in terms of sauces, because I really like where you're going. I do a lot of team of two work, and I try to work with two individuals that are both leading a business and work together to see how their skills are complementary. And my kind of reflection, insight, just listening to both of you, is the combination complementariness of your skills is just a powerful proposition to both, ask the questions, take a look at something, and then pursue doing something different with that is really attractive. So that's a good combo sauce.
Yeah.
I'll take one of those.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Dave, yeah,
so
I
good.
mean, yeah, because Shauna, you're so right. It's like, I think like one of the themes that we just discussed in this conversation is like, Shauna is really great at asking questions, and I am really passionate about finding answers.
Oh,
What do you
man. Where were you guys like 6
We were
months
here.
ago?
So true. Oh my gosh.
You know what? I'll add something to that. Like coaching as an individual entrepreneur can be a lonely business. And that is actually, when you have a person to share with, or to be like, to have a business with, it takes a really unique partnership, a relationship. But it also can be a solution to the incredible loneliness that sometimes coaches feel having their own business. And then, but when you start out, you think, oh, look, I'm going to spend all this time with people and listening and asking these great coaching questions and offering these insights, but you don't realize that there's a individual where you're spending time by yourself for a long period of that time. And so I just find the partnership very energy giving. That's actually my insight is we need other people. I think that's like a super important thing regarding community and the need for other people, but we need someone that can actually be something that we're not, or provide us insight that we don't have, whether it's offering it for a company or just offering it as a fellow person, like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. So anyway, that's my insight.
Totally.
And if there are any coaches out there who are thinking about entrepreneurship in any way, I think this may be wrong, but for me, especially as someone who is so passionate about the development of others and my own development, like, I'm a pilgrim, and I cannot imagine doing what I'm doing now without Erin as a partner to constantly be my coach. I mean, she's really constantly providing me direct communication on what she's seeing me doing, supportive challenge to say, like, hey, remember that thing you said you were going to do differently? Like, here's how I'm seeing that showing up. And we're standing on the balcony looking at not just what we're doing, but how we're doing it and what the experience of it is like all the time. And that is the greatest gift that I'm constantly grateful for. So I do encourage coaches, like, yeah, we really need each other for this stuff.
Yeah, and I was going to say, as a non-professional coach, at least now, for any of the non-coaches out there listening, I would recommend partnering with a coach.
Hear, hear.
That's right. That's right.
Just one.
At least one.
Yeah.
Just
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yeah. Dave, any other insights that you got from our time here as we sort of think about that?
I just want to thank you both, and I want to join the Geek Squad with or without swag. So I'm happy to be part of it.
I think I got an
You're
idea
in.
with that one. So that'll be
You're in, yeah.
forthcoming. Customized Yeti mug or something with your secret sauce on there, right? Whatever it happens to be. That would be a nice, lovely departing gift for our guests, right? Maybe. Shauna and Aaron, can you tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you? What's the best way besides finding you on LinkedIn, fractionalinsights.ai? What are any other ways that people can connect with you?
Definitely check out fractionalinsights.ai. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for there. And so LinkedIn and Instagram are other good ways to find us. And the other good thing is, like, we do complimentary consults. So you can fill out a form or email us directly, Shauna or Aaron at fractionalinsights.ai. And we would love to understand what you're looking to do and see if we can help.
Thanks. We want to actually thank you both for coming. And I do actually want to read something a little bit about, for those of you that missed it at the beginning, Fractional Insights is a research and advisory firm that helps companies use evidence and insights to articulate the market's pain. I think that's actually a really unique part. There is a pain component that we have. And so they're there to actually sort of talk about that with you. And they want to help you with your product promise and the proof that it delivers. So they have a network of experts. Their fractional lab model provides companies with access to expert level go-to-market and product support, offering rigorous but commercially oriented insights. If you are interested in actually sort of connecting with Aaron and Shauna, I just recommend that you just reach out to them. Always worth a conversation. Or if you know of somebody that would benefit from actually talking with them, connect them. And we're grateful for both of you for spending the time with us. This is a new opportunity for us to actually bring a couple of people on at the same time and just talk about. So they are obviously relatively new in their evolution as a company. Really fascinating to watch it as sort of someone that actually knows you. So I applaud you for your courage, your boldness, willingness to actually give words to the process. I think that is one of my other insights. It's, we really, as a coach, we really value it when someone describes what's going on beneath the surface and how they actually go through those things. So if you want to actually take a look at that, I recommend that you look at their posts over the last month of describing those things. Because you'll actually find some great leadership insights. So, Dave, any other thoughts here?
No, thank you both. And I'm looking forward to conversation too.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Until next time.